Some people have said that the government has persistently refused requests for permit for protests against corruption. I said it's a lie, because I, as part of UDP, we requested a permit for protests on corruption. It was granted. People like Attacks Mamadi Kurang, who is a person of interest in this matter, who should actually recuse himself from this protest and gala.
He should recuse himself.
He should.
He should not take part in it.
Attacks Kurang,
on the basis of what?
Attacks Kurang himself, his position is that the Janneh Commission disposed of these assets without following due process. He was part of them. He did sell some of these assets. So he cannot be a referee and a judge. He should recuse, but he is trying to gain political capital out of this. What my brother did, Bob Keita, and Bob is my brother, and Bob is my friend. Bob went into this, a protest about Janneh's assets. All of a sudden, coming out in the open to expose a conversation you had with the president through a confidant of the president and your confidant and in-law. I, Momodou Sabally, I am saying Bob did that just to gain political capital, and it's wrong. And Bob knows that the statements he put out there are false. President Barrow did not reference Usman Sonko in that statement. And Bob did not go to that Congress to confront President Barrow. I was part of this, and that's why, Peter, I'm talking about it. I will not speak about things that I don't know. Yankuba Dabo GRA is my brother and friend for 30 years. Bob Keita, to date, despite everything, is my brother and friend. When Bob made those statements against Barrow in the media, and things started getting sour, some of us went to the president and said, Kisa Halenla, ñun dinañ waxtaan ak mom. And Bob agreed to work with us. Bob, in fact, at some point was asked to come and declare that he is NPP. What Bob told me is that I will not make a declaration because I never left NPP. So as far as I am concerned, up to that moment of the process, Bob was still NPP. But when this thing happened, just like people like Attacks Kurang are trying to use this use to build up political capital, Bob came and made statements that are false. My intervention, Yankuba Dabo's intervention between Bob and the president was to bring reconciliation, peace, and Bob agreed with us. This is the fact. Any other thing that Bob said is not true. We should not use this situation and the young people to create fitna in the society. Gambia and Gambians don't deserve that. It's a messy situation. Emotions are raw. Let us calm down, face each other, speak the truth, and follow due process.
Looks like we'll have to bring Mamadi Kurang to the program before the end of the week, given the several references. But if Bob Keita was trying to, make capital out of this, is that not what every politician tries to do, exploit a situation, however sad it might be?
The biggest politicians in this country, among them Halifa Sallah, did he make capital out of this? Among them Mama Kande?
They don't all have to make capital.
No, what is happening, we have politicians and we have wannabe politicians. It is the wannabe politicians
like Bob
Keita, like Essa Faal, like Mamadi Kurang, who jumped onto this.
Essa Faal is a wannabe politician?
Absolutely, he is. Well, with less than 20,000 votes, you are not even in the C League, talk less of the Premier League. They all went to this to capitalize in the situation of innocent young people to build personal political capital. And I'm glad that the situation has started to backfire on some of them.
How?
the response on Bob Keita's post, for instance.
Well, that's the other party responding. That is the...
No. The response from the comment section on his own post. That's what I'm telling Peter.
Okay, haven't seen
and I'm sure, without a doubt, at some level, Bob has regretted what he did.
And when earlier you were talking about the commission selling part of the former president's assets, you kept referring to they. Who sold?
The Janneh Commission sold the assets. That's the Surahata Ami Ben Suda, including Attacks Mamadi Kurang, Batambedu and his friends. And I mentioned this, it's on Facebook. Alpha Capital, these are Batambedu's friends. And the fair-colored lady, they are his friends. They sold these assets when legally they should not have done it. Even whereas, for instance, because the law can be messy, it's legal. The prices they sold them for, it's a joke.
So how should they have sold these assets? Or let's say, what would have been the proper way to dispose of these assets if that was the final decision?
I think as a precedent, I saw somebody, a young man, and who is part of the protesters actually, he said something very interesting. When the Al-Ghali Commission was set up, after everything happened, a government entity was set up, AMRC, to dispose of these assets. These people in the first place, they should not have started selling these assets before the commission concluded its findings, because you are presuming everybody guilty even before they had a chance for the public to hear their story. The time they started it, the way they started it, I've heard instances where a particular finance minister confronted Bartambedu that one, you should not sell this. Even if you sell it, the proceeds should come to the Ministry of Finance. They refuse. It went wrong. The answer, Peter, is there is a precedent. They should have waited for the commission to end, put up the right legal framework, and sell it in a transparent manner.
The argument, or part of the argument, was the former Attorney General's direct involvement in maybe getting some of the landed properties of the former president unfrozen was because we had this huge investor who wanted to come into the country, FTI. Surely this was going to benefit the country.
You know, some of us are not kids in this country. If I hear that kind of argument, my natural answer is, what went below the table? How much were you given to make you, to push you to make this such an emergency? Look, Peter, the law is the law. Investment into the country is guided by laws. Confiscating and disposing of the assets of Gambians is guided by the law. It is wrong. There is no justification for it.